מאושר. דרכיה דרכי נועם, וכל נתיבותיך שלום, שלום. דרכיה דרכי נועם, וכל נתיבותיך שלום. La-di, la-da-da-da-da, la-di-da, la-da, la-da-da-da-da, la-da-da-da-da-da-da-da, חיים היא, la-di-di-di-di-di, and all her pathways are peace. All her pathways are peace. Shalom echad. It's Chaim. It's Chaim.
Shabbat Shalom, and welcome to Emanuel Congregation, Shabbat morning services. And we will be with you. We will be studying.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. My computer is very unstable, so unfortunately you won't be able to see me, but you'll see Devorah's beautiful face. And you will hear me loud and clear as we start now the Modeh or Moda Ani, thanking God for waking us from our slumber to greet another day. Moda Ani lefanecha, elecha bekayam. חסרת בנשמתי בחמלה, בחמלה רבה אמונתך, רבה אמונתך. עמודה אני לפניך, מלך חי וקיים, שכם חסרת בנשמתי בחמלה, בחמלה רבה אמונתך, רבה אמונתך.
Before we do Matovo, I just wanted to mention that I mentioned to Ruthie last week, I had a student who read the word Rabbah for the first time, learning the alphabet, and she broke into Rabbah Emunatecha, and I looked at her and she looked at me and she says, wow. And I had to tell Ruthie about it because Ruthie sings it, and I wanted to share it with you because I love seeing those moments of recognition when they realize they know what they're reading. So
Yes,
thank you,
I'm so
Ruthie.
glad that she made that connection and that you shared it with us, because that's really important. All right, that's why we do the services over and over the same way, so that it really becomes part of their vocabulary, and so it's great. Matovu. Matovu. Ohaleka Yaakov. Ohaleka Yaakov. Ishkelotecha Yisrael. Matovu. Ohaleka Yaakov. Ohaleka Yaakov. Ishkelotecha Israel. Va'ani tefilati lecha Adonai et ratzon Elohim berov chastecha aneni be'emet yishecha yama tovu ohalecha Yaakov ohalecha Yaakov mishkenotecha Yisrael ma tovu ohalecha Yaakov ohalecha
Israel. Next slide. Our ancestors hallowed on the Sabbath day. In dark times, it was a refuge for them, and in times of prosperity, it gave them rest and joy. Steadfast in their faith, they bequeathed it to us. We give thanks, therefore, for our community, where we find rest from the day's work and refuge from our cares. May it be warm with love and companionship. May our joys be heightened and our sorrows softened by the love we give and receive.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lesechvi vina lechachin ben yom uven laila.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam pokeach ivrim.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam matir asurim.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam zokef kifufim.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam rokah haaretz al hamayim.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamechin mitzadei gaver.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam malbish arumim.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hanoten liya'ef koach.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hama'avir shena me'enai utnuma me'afapai.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shasani b'tzelem Elohim.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam sha'asani bat chorin.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shasani Yisrael.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam ozer Yisrael bigvura.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, Oter Yisrael b'tifara.
Amen. Baruch ata Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu la'asok b'divrei Torah.
Amen.
All right. Oops. Oh dear. Hold on 1 second. I lost my foothold. Darn it. Okay. Here we go. So sorry. Hallelujah, 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 b'tov u'machor, hallelujah, b'minin ve'ugav, hallelujah, b'tziltzalei shama, hallelujah, b'tziltzalei trua, hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. Kol hanshema tehaleya, hallelujah, hallelujah. Kol hanshema tehaleya. Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah.
Do not think that the words of prayer, as you say them, go up to God. It is not the words themselves that ascend. It is rather the burning desire of your heart that rises like smoke toward heaven. If your prayer consists only of words and letters and does not contain your heart's desire, how can it rise up to God? Rav Nachman of Bratslav.
La 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la. Baruch et Adonai HaMevorach, HaMevorach, Baruch Adonai HaMevorach, Le'olam va'ed, Le'olam va'ed. And we did that prayer, Am I Awake?
Yeah.
Good prayer.
Oh God, where can I find you? Your glory fills the world. Behold, I find you in the mind, free to sail by its own star, in words that spring from the depth of truth, where a scientist toils to unravel your world's secrets, where an artist makes beauty in your world, where men and women struggle for freedom, among the lonely and the poor, the lowly and the lost, wherever noble deeds are done. I find you in the merry shouts of children at play, in the mother's lullaby as she rocks her baby to sleep, in the sleep that falls on an infant's eyes, in the smile that falls on sleeping lips, and in the child as she grows to embrace the world of wonders, a world of fun and light, of laughter, dreams, radiance, and love.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. כבוד מלכותו לעולם ועד. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך. Next slide. ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובקומך.
Ruthie, are you with us? Ukshartam liot al yadecha v'hayu litotafot.
Next slide, please. למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם emet.
Adonai, God of the outstretched hand, who brought our ancestors out of confinement in Egypt, release all those bodily confined for the pursuit of justice. Release us from the prisons and the calluses we have constructed around our hearts. Release our hands from the shackles we have placed on them and guide them to their work. Release our minds from the deceptions in which they are imprisoned. Remove exhaustion from our eyelids and our bodies. Release our spirits from terror and fear. Renew us that we may be renewed. Set us on our journey to the land we are to enter.
באלים אדוני מי כמוך נהדר בקודש נורא תהילות עושה פלא נורא תהילות עושה פלא שירה חדשה שבהו גאולים לשמך על שפת הים יחד כולם הודו והמלכו ואמרו אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד.
When Israel prays, they do not pray all at once. Rather, each congregant prays by himself or herself, first one, then the other. After all the congregations finish all their prayers, the angel who oversees prayer takes all the prayers that were said in the synagogues and makes them into a crown and places them on the head of the Holy One.
And now, if you can rise in spirit or rise in body as we do the next prayer, the Tafilah, the standing prayer. Adonai sefatai tiftach ufi yagid tehilatecha. Eternal God, open my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Next. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotenu ve'imotenu Elohei Avraham Elohei Yitzchak ve'Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Leah ve'Elohei Rachel. Next slide, please. Ha'el, Hagadol, Hagibor, V'Hanora, אל עליון, גומל חסדים טובים, וקונה הכל, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה. מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי הכל אתה, רב להושיע, משיב הרוח ומוריד הגשם, מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומי דומה לך, מלך ממית ומחיה, ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה לחיות הכל, ברוך אתה אדוני, מחיי הכל. נקדש את שמך בעולם, כשם שמקדשים אותו בשמי מרום, ככתוב היד נביאך, וקרא זה אל זה ועמד, קדוש, 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 אדוני צבאות, מלוא כל הארץ, כבודו. אדיר אדירנו אדוני אדוננו, מאדיר שמך בכל הארץ, ברוך כבוד אדוני, ממקומו ממקומו ממקומו. אחד הוא אלוהינו, הוא אבינו, הוא מלכנו, הוא מושיענו והוא ישמיענו, ברחמיו לעיני כל חי. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, ימלוך אדוני לעולם, אלוהיך ציון לדור ודור, הללויה. לדור ודור נגיד גודלך, ולנצח וצחים קדושתך נקדיש, ושבחך אלוהינו מפינו לא ימוש לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש.
Amen. And now you have your moments to meditate on whatever is on your mind.
עושה שלום, עושה שלום, עושה שלום במרומה.
Next slide.
עושה שלום, עושה שלום, עושה שלום במרומה. הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו אמן. Ose shalom, ose shalom bimroma. Thank you, Jerry.
All right. So this week's Torah portion is from the book of Shmot, Exodus, and the portion is Yitro, or Jethro in English. And it's the first mention of the Ten Commandments. This is the actual revelation at Sinai. The one in Deuteronomy is a retelling. So if you have a Chumash, I don't have pages. I have my Chumash, but it's the latest Reform Torah book. But anyhow, if we could go to the next slide, Jerry, we can do the blessing of the Shema first, Ruthie.
Sure, of course. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu, Kadosh Shema.
And the blessing before.
Oh, I'm sorry. Are you going to do it, Devorah?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
You can do the response.
Okay.
Baruch Hu et Adonai Hamvorach.
Baruch Adonai Hamvorach Leolam Va'ed.
Baruch Ata Adonai Eloheinu Melech Haolam Asher Bachar Banu Mikol Hamim V'natan Lanu et Torato. Baruch Ata Adonai Notein HaTorah.
Amen.
Vayehi. So before I start reading, this is at the very beginning when Moses is governing the people that have escaped out of Egypt, and his father-in-law, Yitro, has arrived and will discuss about what he sees. Vayehi mimacharat vayeshev Moshe lishpot et ha'am. And Moses sat as a judge among the people. V'ya'amod ha'am al Moshe min haboker ad ha'erev. And the people stood around Moses from morning until evening. V'yar chotein Moshe et kol asher hu oseh la'am. And Moses's father-in-law saw what he was doing with the people, how much he had to do. Vayomer. And he said, Ma hadavar hazeh? What is this thing? Asher ata oseh la'am, that you are doing for the people? Madua ata yoshev levadecha? Why are you sitting by yourself? V'kol ha'am nitzav alav min boker ad arev? Why do you act alone while all the people stand around from morning until evening? Next slide. Vayomer Moshe lechotno. And Moses said to his father-in-law, Ki yavo elai ha'am lidrosh Elohim, because the people come to me to inquire about God. Ki yihye lahem davar ba elai. When they have a dispute, it comes before me. Shafati bein ish uvein re'ehu, and I judge between the person and his friend. V'hodati et kukei ha'elohim vet toratav, and I make known to them the laws and teachings of God. Next slide. Vayomer chotein Moshe elav, and Moses' father-in-law said to him, Lo tov hadavar asher ata oseh. The thing you are doing is not right. Navol tibol gam ata gam ha'am. You will surely wear yourself out, and the people as well. Asher v'gam ha'am hazeh asher imach, and the people with you. Ki kaved mimcha hadavar lo tuchal asohu levadecha. For this is too heavy a burden for you to do by yourself. Ata shema b'koli. Now listen to me. atzcha vayhi Elohim imach. I will give you counsel, and God will be with you. Hayeh ata la'am mul ha-Elohim. You represent God before, you represent the people before God. Veheveta ata et hadvarim el ha-Elohim. And you bring the disputes to God. Next slide. V'his harta et hem et hakukim ve'et hatorot v'hodaot lahem et haderech yechuba. And you shall teach them the laws and the teachings and make known to them the way they are to go, ve'et ha'ma'aseh asher ya'asun, and the practices and the ways they are about to do. Va'ata techazeh mikol ha'am Anshe Chayil, Yirei Elohim, Anshe Amet, Sonei Vatsa. And you shall seek out from amongst all the people capable men who fear God, people of truth, and spurn ill-gotten gains. V'samta alehem, sarei alafim, v'sarei me'ot, sarei chamishim, v'sarei asarot. And you will set over them as chiefs of thousands, of hundreds, 50s, and 10s. And the next. V'shaftu et ha'am b'chol 8, and you shall let them judge the people at all times. V'haya kol hadavar hagadol yaviu elecha, and they will bring major disputes to you. V'kol hadavar hakaton yishpatuhem, but let them decide the minor disputes. V'hakel me'alecha v'nasu itach, and make it easier for you by letting them share the burden. Im et hadavar hazeh ta'aseh, if you do this, v'tzivcha Elohim, and so God commands you, v'yachalta amod, you will be able to stand. V'gam kol ha'am hazeh, and all this people too, al mekomo yavo b'shalom, will go home unwearied. And so, thank you. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech olam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai Notain HaTorah.
Amen.
Okay, so now that was the Torah portion I planned to read when I signed up to do this 3 weeks ago. Little did I know that that's what they were going to talk about last night, because originally it was supposed to be Yoga Shabbat. So I'm not going to rehash what the Cantor and Jill Gardner did so well about mental health, because that was all about Moses's mental health, because he was exhausted from listening to everybody all day and all night. And so a little bit further on in this Torah portion, we talk about the people receiving the Torah from God. They hear the first 2 commandments, and then the rest Moses hears and then shares with the people later. And I read a very interesting article about how there's a saying that every one of us was at Sinai. Ruthie and I and all you people on this who are sharing this YouTube version, we're all there, but we weren't, were we? But there's a discussion about how everybody heard what happened there and understood it in their own way. In other words, what I heard is not necessarily what Ruthie heard, because she thinks in music a lot. And I'm more pictures, and not that I draw pictures, but that I think in pictures. And people understood what they heard differently. And that we were all there together and heard it, but we didn't necessarily all hear the same thing. And that's why when you study any Jewish learning, you always hear about different opinions. Everybody has an opinion. And the important thing is to listen to the opinions. And we were studying in Talmud class earlier today, talking about a discussion of when the new moon happens. And it doesn't really matter when the actual new moon is, but if the new moon is declared to be a certain day by the ruling body, then you take that as the rule. It might be off, it might be wrong, but because we're people and we make mistakes, but we go with the opinion that people have agreed to. So even if they find out, oops, we were a little early, oops, we were a little late, it doesn't matter because the congregation declared it. And that's why we have so many people who have different opinions about how things work. Think about, we have so many different kinds of Jews. We have so many different kinds of people everywhere who see things in different ways. And I think the thing we need to do most right now is to do more listening than talking. And it's really been hard as you watch your friends who work in hospitals struggle with the heavy burden. And it's hard for me to watch. But I think we need to do a lot more listening and a lot less joking. People say things when they're angry and then say later, oh, I was just joking. You can't take me seriously, really. So I think we need to not only listen, but watch what we say in response to that. And that's my teaching for this Shabbat of Parshat Yitro.
Oh, Devorah, that's spot on. Beautifully done, beautifully done.
All right, now we're back to the Haftarah. Would you like to do the Haftarah blessing?
I'd be honored.
Thank you.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar b'nvi'im tovim v'ratza v'divrehem hane'emarim be'emet. Baruch atah Adonai habocher batorah uv'Moshe avdo ובישראל עמו, ובנביאי האמת בצדק.
Amen. Thank you, Ruthie. So, Bishnat Mot Hamelech Uziyahu, I wanted to do my introduction. This is from Isaiah, and because this is the revelation of God at Sinai, this is also the story of Isaiah's personal revelation of God. So in the Bishnat Mot Hamelech Uziyahu, in the year that King Uziyahu died, Va'er'eh et Adonai Yoshev al Kisei Ram v'Nisa, I beheld my God seated on a high lofty throne, V'shulav male'im et ha'hechal, and the skirts of his robe filled the temple. Seraphim omdim mima'al, angels stood in attendance on mima'alo, on attendance on him. Sheish kenafim, each of them had 6 wings. Sheish kenafim le'achad, each to each. Bishtayim yikaseh panav, 2 of them covered his face. Ushtayim yikaseh raglav, and 2 covered his leg. Vishtayim ye'ofef, and with 2 he would fly. V'kara zeh el zeh ve'amar, and one would call to the other, saying, Kadosh, 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 Adonai Tzavaot, Melol Kol Haaretz Kavado. Holy, holy, holy is the Lord of hosts. His presence fills all the earth. Vayanu'u amot hasipin mikol hakore habayit yimale ashan. The doorpost would shake at the sound of the one who called, and the house kept filling with smoke. Va'omar oili ki nidmeti ki ish tameh sifatayim anochi. I cried, woe is me, I am lost, for I am a man of unclean lips, uvatoch am tameh sifatayim, and I live among people of unclean lips. Anochi Yoshev ki et hamelech Adonai tzvaot ra'u einav. Yet my own eyes have beheld the Lord, King of hosts. V'ya'af elai echad min hasrafim uviyado ritzpa. And one of the seraphs flew close to me with a coal in his hand, which he had bimel kachayim lakach me'al hamizbeach, which he had taken from the altar with a pair of tongs. Next slide. V'yiga al pi, and he touched my lips. Vayomer, and he declared, Hine nagazeh al sifatecha, now that this has touched your lips, v'sar avamecha, v'chatatcha tichupar. Your guilt shall depart, and your sin will be purged away. And the blessing after.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, tzur kol haolamim, tzadik b'chol hadorot, ha'el ha'ne'eman, ha'omer ve'oseh, hamdaber u'makayem, shekol devarav emet v'tzedek. Next slide. Al haTorah ve'al ha'avodah ve'al hanvi'im ve'al yom haShabbat hazeh shenatata lanu Adonai Eloheinu likdusha ve'limnucha lechavod ultifaret. Al hakol Adonai Eloheinu anachnu modim lach umvarchim otach yitbarach shimcha befi kol chai tamid leolam va'ed baruch ata Adonai mekadesh haShabbat.
Amen. Thank you, Ruthie.
You're welcome.
If you would like to put any names you want mentioned for Misha Berach into the chat while I read the following names that we've been asked to remember at Emanuel: Fran Charak Abramovitz, Aviva Aliza, Laura Kina Aronson, Davida Berman, Harvey Bowler, David Burchett, Fega Sora Bakhaya, Francine Eisen, Jonah Enbar, Stephen Engelman, Doreen Evans, Eslyn Garb, Phyllis Goldblatt, Don Gandolfo, Mimi Harris, Robert Heyman, Leah Jones, Carl Kalbin, Harold Katz, Jeffrey Krause, Roy Lloyd, Miriam Lyon, Gerald Marks, Eileen McNichols, Jimmy Miller, Sharon Montesi Garskov, Nikki Moulton, Moshe Ben Chava Venatan, Gordon Murphy, Irene Noparstak, Aaron Potter, Gary Prees, Rich Reisman, Alan Sager, Casey Siengo, Kristen Rao Skinner, Rob Stein, Tolly Stein, Cameron Michael Taft, John Thomas, Avraham Ben Svia, Yosef Raphael Ben Yehudit. Any additions, Jerry?
Yes, 1 second. I apologize for any mispronunciations. Bonnie Fields, Leibovich, Diane Jackoel, Layla Holly, Skyla Maytel, Lori Albert Coots, Louise Kevorkian, Laura Colasa, Kay Arkin, Kate Brissett, Becky Hanscorn, Emily Kisber, Barry Rappaport, John Ratner, Norma Goldberg, and Larry Silverman.
Thank you so much. And if we've missed any, they'll be in our hearts. Ruthie, the next slide.
Mishaberach Avotenu, Abraham, Yitzchak, veYaakov. Mishaberach Imotenu, Sarah, Rivka, Leah, veRachel. May the one who blessed our mothers, may the one who blessed our fathers, hear our prayer, hear our prayer, hear our prayer, hear our prayer, and bless us as well.
Thank you, Ruthie. Can we go to the next slide? If everybody, if you can, please rise for the Aleinu. And if you have any names for Yartzeit, please put those in the chat now. All right, Ruthie.
I'm ready, Devorah. Thank you. Aleinu l'shabeach le'adon hakol, latet gedula leotzer bereshit, shelo asanu kugoye haratzot, velo samanu kemishpachot ha'adama, shelo sam chakenu kahem, וגורלנו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד.
And now we remember those whose lives have passed recently and those who have died this time in years past. And if you would put up the next slide. Oh, okay. Prayer first. Why should I wish to see God better than this day? I see something of God in each hour of the 24, and each moment then. In the faces of men and women, I see God, and in my own face in the glass. I find letters from God dropped in the street, and everyone is signed by God's name. And I leave them where they are, for I know wheresoever I go, others will punctually come forever and ever. Mm. And we remember the following names. In recent days, Zachary Bassinger, Kurt Anspach, Ruth Blankstein, T. Sergeant Eugene Brinkman, Fanny Brunner, Daniel Cohen, John R. Comp, Herbert Decker Sr., Zoe Ekaterina, Gertrude S. Enelo, Stuart Fiddler, Sophie Fishman, Fanny B. Flynn, Leonard A. Frank, Bernard Garb, David Goodman, Simon Hyman, Harry Kantoff, Heiko Katzen, Jacob Klein, Nancy Leibowitz, Eleonora Laitman, Jesse Marshak, Isaac F. Morrison, Fanny Munzer, Otto Olbert, Maximilian Polar, Helen Schindler, Idel Singer, Ruth Slivka, Harry Sobel, Herman Stern, Anita Sternberg, Rabbi Hirsch Tazen, Ida Uslander, Diane Wales, Ella E. Weil, Irving Weiner, Leonard Winning, and Gertrude Stern Wertheimer. Any additions, Jerry?
1 second. Vicky Weisberg, and Jacob Landman.
Thank you so much. And now we rise for the Kaddish. Yitgadal v'yitkadash Shemei Rabbah.
Amen.
Ve'alma divra kirate v'yamlich malkute. V'chayechon uvyomechon uv'chayed kol Beit Yisrael. Bagala v'zman kari v'imeru.
Amen. Yehei Shmei Rabbah Mivarach Leolam Omei Almaya.
No. There we go.
Yitbarach, that's where you
Yeah.
are.
Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpoar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitalev v'yitalal shmei dekudashah brichu. Next slide. La'ela min kol berchata v'shirata tushbachata v'nechamata da'amiran v'alma v'imru amen.
Amen.
Yehei shlama rabba back. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imeru amen. Next. Oseh shalom b'mramav hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imeru amen.
Amen.
May the one who creates harmony on high bring peace to us and to all Israel, to which we all say,
Amen.
Amen. Thank you very much, Ruthie and Jerry, especially. Thank you for all your assistance today and running the slides, because that's tricky business. And Ruthie, we didn't talk about a song to close out. Are you ready?
Oh, I have it picked out.
All right.
Between the wonderful
your sound cut out again. That's happened a couple of times. Let's see if she comes.
Not a Hebrew speaker.
Hold on, Ruthie.
Yeah.
We lost a bunch of you.
Oh, darn it.
Your sound cut out. So say it again.
Can you hear me now? Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, and for all people who are new to something and are anxious, remember Jill was saying last night, if you're anxious, you can't think. And so that's what this song is about. And it goes to you too, Jerry, because this is new for you and you are just wonderful. You're going to be a Hebrew speaker yet. So this song is called Gesher Tsar Me'od. All the world is a bridge, a thin bridge, and you walk it, but the important thing is don't be afraid. Kol ha'olam kulo Gesher Tsar Me'od, Gesher Tsar Me'od, Gesher Tsar Me'od, Kol ha'olam kulo Gesher Tsar Me'od, Gesher Tsar Me'od. Ve'ha'ikar, ve'ha'ikar, lo lefachet, lo lefachet klal. Ve'ha'ikar, ve'ha'ikar, lo lefachet klal. Ve'ha'ikar, ve'ha'ikar, lo lefachet, lo lefachet klal. Ve'ha'ikar, ve'ha'ikar, lo lefachet klal. Kol ha'olam kulo Gesher Tsar Me'od, Gesher Tsar Me'od, Gesher Tsar Me'od.
Thank you, Ruthie. I just wanted to make sure everybody knew that if you were planning to do the Havdalah Limud this evening, it has been canceled because of the COVID spike. And Sunday school is on Zoom tomorrow. So if you have kids, and even if you don't have kids, there's going to be a special discussion for parents and adults after services. It starts at 10 to 10:15. And if you want the link, you can email Mandy Herlich for a link for tomorrow. So Cantor will be having a discussion about the issue in Colleyville last weekend. I just wanted to say that I heard somebody say that they were rescued. They were not. They escaped, and they escaped because of what the rabbi did. And I think that's just an important thing to remember, that they weren't rescued, they escaped, and
Yeah.
they facilitated that escape. And I think that's one of the most important things to take from that. Emanuel had some discussions a couple of years back with local police and about things like that. And we're going to be having some more coming up. So if you're interested, you can contact the office at info@emmanuelkong.org. So Shabbat Shalom, everybody. I hope you all stay warm, and it's supposed to snow, I guess, tomorrow. I didn't get much snow last night. They said it was going to snow then too. So we got a dusting. So Shabbat Shalom, and